All right. Hello, Pisces. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, your day is getting off to a great start, or your evening if you're in Europe. It's good to see you. Let me just get everything set up here. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Apollo's sleeping in the other room, but he'll join us in a few minutes, and when he does, I'll bring him up to say hello. That's my dog if you're brand new. So, welcome to your monthly reading. This can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus, really any aspect of your chart that you happen to know. And we do a lot of different things differently on this channel than others. So let me just go through the format quickly and then we'll get into the good stuff. I always like to begin with channeled messages. I was reading through comments this morning and someone, while I was doing channeled messages, they're like, where's the cards? So something different that I do on this channel is I like to begin with things that come through dreams or meditations. That's another form of intuitive divination. So I combine both spirit and then also cards here today because I just get information from different channels. So what's cool is if you look at this on replay, everything will be sort of put into chapters. Once I get a chance to do it, give me like an hour, and then all the time codes will be put there. So for those of you that are in a hurry, you can always jump to the past the channel messages, but the channel messages contain some important information, and it's just a different way of getting into spirit. Just like if you're talking to a medium, they're not going to use cards. So I get things in different channels. That's going to be the channel messages. Celtic Cross expanded forecast, that's where the cards will come into play. Celtic Cross is not focused solely on one area. I know a lot of readers will just look at your person. I'm looking at you to help you with your life to make some great decisions. Expanded forecast is where we'll hit on the areas of health, wealth, love, and destiny. And then the rest of this we'll get to as we go further on into the reading, so I'm not just talking here, but suffice it to say there's going to be a chance for us to vote on different things, for me to look at different aspects of what's going on, and also we'll drill a little bit deeper into the sun, the rising, and the moon messages. If you have any questions, I ask that you hold them until the very end when I have a chance to do a final question or final card. If you like what you see here, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're brand new or if you've never subscribed. It's free. It's also required if you want to chat live. If you want to follow me on social media, I typically post reminders either the day before or the day of, so it's a great way to keep in touch. Remember, I don't do private readings. I don't send messages. If anyone's sending messages and offering a reading, big red flag. So be smart about that and be safe. The schedule for my readings are always on my website. And if you want to show some love and support during the live reading, you can do it through SuperStickers and Super Chat. All right, so without any further ado, let's get into the channel messages for today. A really playful and fun symbol came through. It's been a while since we've talked about this one, and I really like it whenever it comes through in dreams. So here's what we've got for you today. It is the snapdragon. And I'm talking about the flower, and I can pull up an image if you guys haven't seen it. You can just do a Google as well. But basically, snapdragons are these really cool flowers that when you push them on the sides, they basically open up. And I know a lot of kids love them, myself included, when I was younger, because you could kind of make them talk. And it's kind of like this gimmicky flower, but in also very cool energy. So let's talk a little bit about this. Speaking of that playful energy, it would definitely carry with it the energy of the Fool, the Sun, and the Six of Cups. So when I see something like this in dreams and meditation, it is saying it's time to have some fun. Actually, an interesting, we'll talk more about the name in a second, but it has a delicate nature, the flower. You can only sort of make it talk for so long. So be playful, but also kind of be cautious and I would say careful about other people's feelings. I think when we're looking at humor, there's always a note that if you have to explain what you're saying to someone, it's probably not a good joke, especially if there's someone that could be hurt, or if it's kind of, if it feels like it's a little mean-spirited or sarcastic, just don't do it. When I'm saying having fun here, I think it's like letting the inner child come out and play. So that would be, to me, giving yourself a chance to have a day off, to draw, to immerse yourself in an activity with or without friends that kind of just makes you feel like a kid again, where you're not focusing so much on how is this making me a better person? Is this going to help me pay the bills? Is this what people expect? It's more sort of your heart coming out and saying, I just want to do this today. So give yourself a little bit of time, carve out a little bit, a half an hour or something, to just be playful. And the water in you, that sort of fluid energy of creativity, is going to start to come out once you give yourself permission to have fun. And I think really whenever I see this particular card as well, it is about connecting with friends, siblings, children, younger energy in our life that kind of gets us out of the sort of box that we're forced to get into as an adult. When we come onto the planet, it's sort of this beautiful energy, free of all the shackles, free of things like biases and bigotry and all this other stuff that gets built in, and also things like shame and self-doubt. But society and people and experiences come in and kind of break away at that. So this is a way to rebuild your true sense of self and have some fun and get into your power, which is what we'll be getting into in just a few moments here. So the Greek name for this comes from snout-like, if you kind of like translate it. So what you're looking for might be right under your nose, might be not so obvious. And if you're kind of in the Four of Cups energy, which is, why is this all that there is? You could be limiting yourself from that floating cup in the air where the universe is saying, but it isn't all that it is. There's actually more to it. Or if you compare yourself, something I think we talked a little bit about yesterday, to others and think like, why have they gotten something that I haven't? You don't know what more you could get in this situation. You don't know if they're happy with what they have. The Four of Cups is saying, be more present. If you do feel a calling to do something else, then do something about it. And there's probably an easier path to that than you think. Four of Cups is a stagnating card because you're kind of digging your heels in and just thinking nothing's working. Excuse me. And the universe, I always like to say this, it conspires to assist you, to push you in the right direction. And if you are pausing, it's because you need to pay attention to something right there. So things are better than you think. And what you're looking for is either close by, close at hand, or right under your nose. All right, so snapdragon is also, like many flowers, actually, I was listening to this really cool thing on public radio last week where they were talking about the infrared and ultraviolet, the ultraviolet spectrum, which is something that bees and other pollinators and birds are tapped into. And so when you look at something like a sunflower, there's all these, there's almost like a bullseye in the center to help the bee get to it. There's also custom markings on the snapdragon that helps pollinators find it as well because it's a little bit hidden. So there's these sort of like point arrows and symbols that kind of help the insects figure out where to pollinate. And it's kind of custom made for that bee so that it gets in there, it moves around, and it does its work. So you might be receiving communication for you that is customized or even coded or nuanced. And what do I mean by that? Let me give you pop culture examples that would help a little bit. Have you ever listened to a song as a kid and it seems like completely fun and playful and there's nothing to it, and then you listen to it as an adult and you're like, oh my gosh, they're not talking about what I thought. It's actually something something different. Like, for instance, dancing and working in songs are typically not just dancing and working. So an example is the Whitney Houston song, I Want to Dance with Somebody. She actually just wants to go out and hook up with somebody. She doesn't want to go out and dance. She wants to do that. So it's kind of funny to listen to it as an adult, and you're like, wow, I was missing a lot. A lot of pop songs kind of will nuance something in there. Most adults will get it, and it's coded on two levels. So your communication that you could be receiving from a friend or a loved one could have them saying one thing, but also wanting you to go a little deeper. So ask. It's like if you talk to someone and the first response is usually not going to be the real one anyway. So, how are you doing? Oh, everything's fine. But they say everything's fine in a way that's not really. You say, no, really, what's going on? How is this? What's going on with this? You were talking a little bit about being stressed out here. Is there anything I can help you with? Dig deeper, because what I see is a surface message not being the whole thing. It's like an iceberg. And when you hear it, see it, or look at it from a different angle, you start to see that there are more levels to it. This can also indicate like a person in your life that you've taken for granted. There's more to that person than you think. Hidden skills, hidden emotional depth, hidden creativity, something more to see. So the coded energy that I was looking at when I was researching the snapdragon and the customized stuff tells me that there's something being set up that's going to help you, but you have to look a little bit deeper, you have to go beyond the surface. And my guides are also reminding me that for those of you that are interviewing for jobs or signing a contract, to look at the deeper levels of that and make sure that, because a word can mean many things, and this is what we're kind of talking about here, like an entendre, so double entendre. You want to make sure that your interpretation of said word is the legal interpretation. So definitely get a lawyer to look at contracts to make sure that language isn't fooling you or masking something that needs to be dealt with. And omission can also be part of this too. So whether it's obvious, coded, or omitted, these are the things that you want to kind of pay closer attention to. So I put the High Priestess here. I could have also put the Eight of Pentacles because that's kind of like combing through the details. So a little bit of both of those cards here would help you out. Your gut instincts will prevail. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Nonverbal cues speak louder than the words that are coming out of someone's mouth. So if they say fine, but their face reads not fine, trust the not fine and figure out what you can do to support them, or just let them know that you're there, okay? So hopefully that resonates and makes sense to you. Now is the time. This particular flower grows now. So whether or not your season is, whether it's fall or summer or what, I don't care, because we're all in different sort of, different parts of the globe is going to have different growing seasons. We're looking at the time that it grows, and it's for the month that I'm reading. So from July to October, the next quarter of the year approximately, is the time to take action. So if you have been dragging your feet, the snapdragon is saying, no more dragging, become the dragon and actually start to make something happen. So it's a call to action, and we see the Wheel of Fortune coming through to say this is going to start a new cycle. And if you felt like you've been stagnating, you've been trying to find a job, a house, love, anything in your life where it's like, why isn't it happening? We see things starting to come to the surface now, and we start to see a shift happening. So make the intention that you're ready now to start. You're going to take steps and put yourself out there and open yourself up to these opportunities so that you can receive what the Wheel of Fortune wants to bring through. And ultimately, because dragon is in the common name for this, it's about power, and it's about leadership, and it's about also finding that inner fire or flame. I could also put the Sun card here and saying, I'm the one that's going to make this happen. Definitely some ownership and autonomy is going to play a part over the next 6 to 8 weeks, which is typically what this reading is geared for. So roll up your sleeves, finish what you started, and also take some ownership, take some accountability, okay? I actually feel like you're going to have a great July based on just based on the totem. We'll see what the cards will show, and we'll see what you can do to really maximize opportunities set in front of you. All right, so let's pick some cards now. Let me get the camera turned on, and I'll show you some that I'm thinking of for today. You can also, if you'd like to, put some requests for any decks that you want me to use here. I'm going to kind of go through and just choose some that we haven't seen in a while. So let's go ahead here and see what's coming through for you today. All right, it's been a while since we've used Sun and Moon, so I'll put the Sun and Moon deck. It's been a while since I've used the Druid Craft deck. Let's see what else is calling this morning. People tend to love this sort of shiny Luna deck. And let's see what else is calling. Okay, I'm going to look to yours. Okay, Steampunk, Afrogoddess, Chrysalis, Fountain. Fountain, we can do Fountain as well. Although I did kind of use that on the weekend. Is there anything else here? I don't usually use the Chrysalis because they change every single suit and it gives me a headache. So let's see. Let me go to the side here and pick a different one. It's actually been a minute or two since we did True Heart Intuitive. Okay, there we go. So I feel like this gives you some options. We'll go from there. All right, give me a chance to set up the poll, then you can vote, and we'll talk as I do that, and I'll show you some of these images. Okay. So Sun and Moon, Druid, Craft, Tarot. Let's see. And by the way, for those of you throwing things out, just give me a second. I'm going to put the poll up so you don't have to type it in chat. Luna deck, and then True Heart Intuitive. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the newest channel members. We had a couple joining today. It's good to have you. Bonnie, and I'm trying to see, there was someone at the beginning and I already welcomed them, but thank you to both of you. I'll say welcome at the end here. All right, here's some, just a quick run through of each of the decks while you're voting. So this is the Sun and Moon. It actually has a really welcoming energy. It's kind of soft, kind of playful, kind of childlike actually. It reminds me of like what you would see in a children's book for illustrations. So I do kind of like this one. Then Druidcraft has this really beautiful earthy vibe, lots of nature energy, and it's quite nice as well. Okay, and then this one seems to be a fave here. This is the Luna deck, which as you can tell is iridescent, and this is the updated version of Ethereal Visions. They've added some new figures for all the different major arcana cards. It's pretty cool actually. And then True Heart Intuitive I like because it has some unusual interpretations of standard Rider-Waite-Smith. So a couple of derivative ones, like they're a little bit different, and then a couple of standard ones. All right, so let's see what's coming through. It's pretty close. Looks like we have Luna in the lead, so I'm going to end the poll and we'll see if this one wins. All right, so the Luna deck 24, Hermit, wait, the True Heart Intuitive, okay, it changed at the last minute. So True Heart Intuitive came into the lead there. It's crazy how much can shift in just a couple of moments. All right, True Heart it is. I actually love this deck, so I think you made a fantastic choice. Let's begin. All right, so we're getting into, if you just joined, we're getting into the Celtic Cross. This can be used for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Sun, rising, moon, Venus, any aspect of your chart. Let's go and see what's coming through. Good to see all of you, by the way. It's always a nice way to start the week and end the month with you. By the way, I'll be doing a bonus reading. I don't have it yet up on my channel for a reminder, but I'll do that today. But we'll be doing a bonus reading on Thursday, and topics TBD. Usually those are very fluid and not as structured, so I may not have any organizational structure. I'll just go with what Spirit wants me to do, and it's kind of fun. I see there's a lot of first-time viewers here, so someone said first-time caller, it made me laugh. Good to see all of you. Welcome. I know my time shift has made it easier for some and more challenging for others. Still working on finding myself the right place to relocate, but until I do and until the construction's done, I'll keep this time, probably at least one more month at the early time. This is a cool deck to look at, isn't it? Like the images on it are unique. They're not your typical illustrations, but they're close enough that you can still do like a quick glance and know what's going on. That's kind of my litmus test for a good deck. I should be able to see what's on the table and know, are things good or do we have some things to focus on? So pretty good. You're definitely moving through a season of change, Pisces. But I like change, and when I look at some of these cards here, it looks like change for the better, some changes in relationships for sure. We're going to be talking about love today, Pisces, love and relationships, but also other moves and other changes in your life, okay? I always let the cards dictate when and if relationship energy comes through. By the way, tons of what I'm wearing here too, so a ton of yellow and orange, which is great. Solar plexus, energy, your sacral chakra. We like that. We want to be able to be powerful and expressive. Yeah, this is a really great tarot deck, and I've only had it maybe for just under a year. Rachel True did it. Some of you remember her from The Craft. She's also really good intuitive herself, and she developed this deck, and it's pretty good. Somebody on Twitter recommended the deck to me, and I was so happy once I picked it up. occasionally I ask folks for suggestions for new decks, so it's been a while. I should do that and see if I'm missing out on any new ones. Look at all the beautiful, God, we have so much like spring and summery energy coming through. And a lot of orange, a lot of yellow. I do pay attention to that as a reader. It's not just the cards, it's the colors, it's the sort of layout, it's all of that. All right, so let's begin with your first card here. And this is the Catalyst. That's a custom position that I made up here for my own sort of system. And the way that the Catalyst functions is it helps you kick things into gear. If something has been stagnating, if there's something and you feel like I got to make it work, the Catalyst helps you with that. And we have the Daffodil Fairy on this one. It says New Beginnings. Interesting thing, like this isn't just in literature, fairy energy. It actually is, I've connected with that before. They're a little tricky. And I can see why in Shakespearean plays, the fairies were sometimes causing trouble. So the new beginning could carry with it some challenges or unexpected twists and turns because we have fairy energy attached to it. Definitely things aren't what they seem. And so there could be a really exciting opportunity, and it could come across again as not a match, or someone could be trying to talk you out of something that you feel like doing. There's something about it that I want you to, again, trust your instincts here. Don't miss out on something because you misread it. Don't let somebody try to talk you out of doing something that's good for you. And then also there could be something you need to look at when it comes to commitment or contract. I still feel like when we're looking at new beginnings, you can get what you're looking for, but they may not offer it at the beginning. You might have to ask. There's something that requires a little bit of you putting on your glasses and looking closer, for sure. Being discerning, trusting yourself, and not letting someone get the better of you. And that's really what this kind of fairy energy would try to do, is just to sort of like poke you a little bit, test you a little bit, and see what happens. So keep your calm and cool, collected self there. Ask the questions, and then we are seeing a reset of cycles. And when we just glance at the table here really quickly, we see within this period a tower energy coming through. Look, however, how the illustrator chose to show this, where the person's holding on to the tower and deciding, I don't need that, take a little bit of this. It's basically you get a chance to construct it. Even though this is an upright tower, it has with it the positive energy of a reverse tower because of the illustration. So it's saying, choose what you want, be an agent of change. Maybe there's something in your life and you have to think to yourself, I could take it or leave it, because I get all of that when I see that card. We'll dig into the tower a little bit more deeply in a moment, but combining these two together, it's basically saying something is not what it seems, but behind it is a new door, and something needs to be released in your life, and there might be a change that you need to make in order to kind of like move into this new opportunity. So let's begin at the beginning with the Empress card at the center. She's reversed, very close to the Emperor energy that I was pulling up anyway. And let me see, we've got a lot of kings and queens as well, plus a Hierophant. So there's a lot of boss energy today. It's almost all boss energy. And so what does that mean for you? It's when this card is reversed, sometimes people are either underprepared, unready, or unwilling to let you kind of step into your power. I think the thing that we all experience growing up would be like parents. When do we kind of get to that pinnacle of letting them trust us to stay out later, or to choose the career path that we want, or to date someone without them kind of like swooping in and judging that? But as we get older, that same sort of energy will step into work. For instance, maybe there's a boss that constantly will second guess you. Have you done that yet? Did you remember to do this? Could you send that to me? I just want to make sure. I need to take a look at it constantly, like check, beyond the point of what's necessary. Same thing with friends, siblings, etc. So what you want to do is basically make sure that you've got it. But once you've got it, just say, I've got this, we're good. I'll ask if I have any questions. You want to kind of reclaim power. And honestly, let them do what they should be doing. You can't say that to the superior, but really they should be focusing on the big picture. So just say, let me take care of this. And then, one thing that you can do sometimes, by the way, is just to manage up. So you can send a proactive message at the beginning of the day and say like what you've done and what you plan to do and if you have any questions. So when they get to work, everything's laid out. They're like, wow, you've got this together. Okay. So that's part of this, is just establishing your ability and your power and your limits and boundaries and all that jazz. It's also a nudge to you to not feel like you have to fix other people's problems. It's not your problem, unless they decide to make it your problem. So Queen of Wands and King of Wands and the Empress reversed, Emperor too, they're all the most powerful, bossy cards, but what you want to do when they're reversed is say, just extend the opportunity to someone. Say, hey, I know you've got this. If you have any questions, you know where I am. The door is always open, or you can always call. Let them come to you, and you focus on taking care of yourself. Empress reverse is the quintessential mother here in the major arcana. So she's basically saying, nurture yourself. If you haven't gone to the doctor recently, make sure you've gotten your annual physical. If you aren't eating enough, make sure that you're doing that. Get enough sleep. All the stuff that your mom would do for you as a kid, you need to do for yourself. So be your best sort of universal mother and take care of yourself. Divine feminine energy coming through there. Establish power. And then also, just like a good leader would do, let people, set them up for success in your life. This is including your children and your partner or your friends. Set them up for success and empower them to do the best. And then they can come to you if they need something. But you want, if you're in a relationship, you want your emperor to the empress. Both of you are equal. Even though those are ranked differently, they're the same when we're reading this. So you want a king and a queen, you want that sort of equal energy. So let people rise up. And to do that, they sometimes have to scrape their knees a little bit. So that's the tough thing there, is knowing when to be the boss, knowing when to step back, knowing when also to push back on people that are constantly getting into your energy. Eight of Swords is crossing this card, and the Eight of Swords is, interestingly enough, here we can see the person getting above that situation, but it is about looking at things differently. So sometimes it feels like we can think ourselves into a prison. There are a couple of decks, I can't remember which one, where it might be the St. Croix, but it's illustrated as like a birdcage. I'll figure out which one it is later, but it's a cool, I've always liked that illustration, because to me, it's like a cage that we build for ourselves. And so the Eight of Swords can be a fear of like, I can't get out of this, or this isn't going to work, and really what it is I would say whenever I see a blindfolded card, usually Two of Swords or Eight of Swords, I would then ask questions. Because it's not, and this is going to the coded or subtle or nonverbal level. Something isn't obvious, but it's still there. And maybe it's the elephant in the room that everyone's like, la, 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 I don't want to see it, I don't want to talk about it, but it's there. So the sooner people talk about it, the sooner you can resolve that big issue. Okay? So I think you're going to have to take the initiative, since we have Empress energy crossed by this. You see something that you know needs to be fixed, so have an open conversation. Start with a question. No accusations, just start with a question and then begin. Offer your help or take on something if you need to take it on. But basically, someone's not paying attention to something and it needs to be dealt with. So the sooner this is dealt with, the sooner things get better. Part of the reason is because you know that when you talk about something big, changes happen. But changes are necessary based on the setup here of the cards today. So it's just basically a question of, are you going to go with that energy of change, or are you going to let change come rushing in and then you have to deal with it? It's better to be the agent of than reacting to change. All right, in your deep past, we have the Sun card. As I said earlier, I would expect something like this with the snapdragon, because it has that beautiful bright energy that, like when we were talking about the dragons, that I would see here. This Sun card is super unique, because if we look really close, those aren't just rays, they're actually like little hands reaching out and grabbing what is necessary. So the sun itself, of course, is the biggest gravitational pull that we have here in our solar system. It sets all the orbits, it keeps things glue. So you're also the glue, and you also have this ability through your smile, through your communication, through your passion, through just your personality, to be like that, to be bright. I wanted to put on a bright color for you today. When I was like, yeah, gotta do like yellow or orange, and that's what's coming through, is this sort of bright energy. So other people will resonate with that when you're able to step into that. But like attracts like, and also the higher energy will help other people meet you at that level. So if you step in and you start a conversation in a low space, people have a hard time kind of like connecting and they may ignore you. But if you started in a higher space, they want to talk to you. They want to be around you. They want to engage with you. So try to be as positive as possible and try to lift up the conversations. Your personality is a very attractive trait this month if you use it in the right way. We have a very sort of breaking the trends energy here with the Hierophant reverse. This is the antithesis of doing what you're told. So when you're a kid and people are just saying like, well, just listen, just do it, or maybe there's even someone that's hypocritical and they say, do as I say, don't do as I do. The Hierophant is just seeing through all of that. It's just arbitrary structures. We talked about this on the weekend because I was using the Raven Prophecies deck, but for some reason they'd used the lantern, and I was saying that the key is the most important piece on this deck. And the reason is because here, this traditional papal figure, the Pope here, is serving as it's my way, or this is how you do it, or I am the gatekeeper, I am the one that speaks for the divine. The truth of the matter is we are all connected to the creative flow of energy. It's not a popular opinion with a lot of organized religions, but we're all connected to source. I mean, that's how prayer works. You just close your eyes and connect, and you're into source energy. So although you can have people interpret and teach, you have the capacity, you have the power, you're the magician. And honestly, in many decks, this is High Priest, and High Priest is a little bit more, it makes more sense because, again, with this, there's just structure and hierarchy. So what you're going to be doing is breaking down some of the structure, flattening out some of that structure. So if there's a lot of levels to get something done, let's say you have the power as a manager, as a parent, or as someone that might be in charge of other people, to simplify a process, do that. Even as an individual that quote unquote isn't in that power position, you are still empowered to reduce some of the levels of stuff that you're working on. Get organized, but don't be so rigid that you don't have the freedom to do what you need to do. In your organizational structure, fewer levels so that you're not kind of overthinking things as well. As someone who's also creative, especially if you've ever painted or written poetry or composed music, you'll know that sometimes you get almost the whole thing at once, and that initial output onto paper or into some sort of medium is the most true to what it really wants to be. And then we sometimes put all these layers on top and it doesn't sound good. This is again why with music we like live or acoustic performances, because the production gets in the way of the voice and a single instrument or just a few people in a studio. And it's raw and it's real and it's live. So that's how to get things done. Be real, have a little less perfection, but a lot more connection to what it is that you're trying to say. And the more you're like honest and connected and in that source flow, the more other people are going to resonate. You don't have to be perfect. That's something that I've learned through a couple years of doing live readings. I guess it's 2.5 now. I used to spend an entire day per sign to make sure that I took out every, mistake, every this, every that. And it was exhausting, and I did less, and I was only showing up once a month. It's so much more fun to just be here in the flow with you and have a conversation, because that's what, when I used to do readings for people, that's what it would be like. You just have a talk with someone. So that's why it's powerful. Just be yourself, be authentic, let it come through. This is how some cool stuff is going to happen for you this month. It's not the perfection, it's actually the connection to source and also the intention of what you're trying to do. There'll be plenty of time to get things as perfect as possible, but when it comes to ideation, sometimes even just general production, you have to keep the wheels moving, and that's the most important piece, okay? I learned that the hard way, so hopefully I can help you not have to be a perfectionist. We have the 10 of Cups in the crowning position. There's a lot of people that are just ready to receive. They're waiting for you. They're waiting for whatever it is that you want to kind of put out in the universe. Great card for dating, for relationships as well. We'll talk more about that when I look at love in just a moment. And I will look at it with these two cards here as we kind of talk through the tower. But as an aspect of where your head is at right now, a lot of you are focusing on the greater good. You could be caring a lot about friends, community, parents, your partner, starting a family. It's basically, I'm just seeing a lot of people entering into your thoughts, which is great. There's a lot of people around you that also might be thinking of you. This is a month to be a social butterfly. Get out there, say yes, RSVP, even if you just show up for an hour to some sort of an event. You never know how this could change your life. You could make a work connection, you could make a new friend, or love could enter in. Now we see a shift here on the diagonal. So this is where your head's at. This is your near future, and this is representing you, your soul, your ego. So we see partnership energy playing a really partnership, friendship, or family, or community. But the 10 of Cups and the 4 of Wands are two of the best cards that you could pull for relationships. This is curious though, isn't it? So let's look at all of these close up. With this one, what I see here is kind of like embracing things with open arms, being authentic, being open, and also encouraging people to do the same for you. So if someone has a lot of requirements, has a lot of conditions on the love that they are giving to you, then you deserve better than that. So it should be open-hearted, open-armed, should feel easy stepping into that. There may be a big change coming through. This could be good, by the way. So I'm just going to keep it overhead for a second. This could be a new addition to your life. So it could be new love because this is a monogamous relationship or partnership. It could be a happy sort of connection here where there's a new child coming in because we've got the sun here, something you've been wanting for a while. And it could also just be a big change, a move, maybe a move for work, maybe a move because you want to move, but it's a change or a shift. This is also, it could be marriage. So you could go from a really solid relationship into marriage because either of these cards can actually symbolize that, okay? An addition, a change, an upgrade, shifting in relationship depth or status. And again, even if you're not looking for love, we'll go into this all in a moment. It could also be new friends or new connections coming in. But change for the better because everything around the tower is good. I mean, the only thing that's happening here is you're opening your eyes up. And literally we see a big eye at the top of the tower. So we have a blindfolded 8 of Swords and a gigantic eye, almost like, it reminds me of Sauron in The Lord of the Rings, but basically a big old eye opening up and seeing things for what they truly are, all right? I think it's a good change. What I was talking about here is you get to take some ownership. So we see the hands here, and they could be doing one of two things. They could be saying, this doesn't serve me, so I'm going to dismantle and rearrange. They could also be holding on for dear life. I don't want to change. The tower's crumbling anyway. So you have to, like at that point, it's time to accept that a change is necessary. So ultimately, embrace change, understand the change, be an agent of change. As you work through that energy, it's going to empower, possibly fix, possibly enhance things in your life. So go with the flow. I think you're being led into a better position and a better place in your life. Many of you want to know, where do I stand with you, with whoever you might be? It could be your friend, your partner, a job, but there's that commitment question that's coming in a way that it might not have before. The 4 of Wands is super positive and auspicious to be placed where it is placed because it's saying you're ready to have the commitment and you're also very attractive to people that are in the same space. So knowing that you're ready, saying it to yourself, and then also putting it out there as you're connecting with new people is going to be powerful. But I think you could make a new friend. You could be enriching an existing relationship, or you could be attracting something very, very positive into your life right now. This is a great foundational card, and it's really good with relationship energy. So this looks like a good month for love, relationships, and partnerships so far. We have the Magician card in the environment, and the Magician is reversed. The Magician is always a good card. With the reversed Magician, just like the reversed High Priestess, there's a few different connotations here. One of them is sometimes you're just spreading yourself into too many directions, spreading yourself too thin. So know what we see here with all the planets around her, and we see the sun at the center, is sort of I'm not the one that's orbiting. I'm the one setting the orbits. So if I feel like I'm spiraling in a direction, then I need to change some other things here. So there's accountability and empowerment that are intrinsic to the Magician card. This card shows that you're at the center of it. You don't need to orbit around others. Your power is in your passion and in your focus. So maintain focus and set priorities, and remember that you don't have to be beholden to others. You want to be the central sort of energetic glue in your own life. The Magician can do anything that they set their minds to, but just like the High Priestess reverse, if they don't believe it, then it's almost guaranteed that they're not going to be able to see it or do it. So you have to see it in your heart and in your third eye first before it shows up in the periphery or in the environment. And even if it's not there yet, that still doesn't mean that it's not happening. And that's a big part of what we talked about on the weekend. So focus, believe, organize, and be discerning. Less is more. Just because you can do everything doesn't mean that you have to or should. You can't even see all of the different suits here. Like, I had to really look to see the cup, and the wand is hidden. The sword I could see, but it's just sort of like, it's hard to pick up on all the different elements. And the pentacle, you can barely see it all. It's right there. So the Magician has all of this stuff in front of her, and it's sort of like all that needs to happen is, what is your focus? Because as a recipient of your message or whatever it is that you're putting out there, I would be confused, probably. There's too much to pay attention to. Believe in yourself, be intentional, do less, and do it better. And you're going to be more effective at whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. We have King of Swords in Hope, Fears, and Desired Action. This is a really good card to come up here. This is saying, we had that slide, the Wheel of Fortune, take action now. That's what this is saying. And not only take action, but like talk the talk and walk the walk. So say what you want to do and then do what you said you were going to do. And this sets you up in a really powerful way. Also, you may need to cut straight to the chase. Something isn't working. You see something you don't like. You know how to fix it. You're going to be the boss here with the King of Wands and lead the charge. But the boss is coupling up with this sort of energy of, we have to communicate it. Sometimes you have to play the broken record, but maybe saying the same things in a different way or to a different person to make sure that it's getting out there, and to also make sure that there's documentation. King of Swords pairs up also, just like the Justice card would, with legal documents. So there is this sort of note to get a copy of things that are important, carbon copy yourself on an email, and CC yourself basically, or just make sure that there's some sort of paper trail, interestingly enough, is what I'm getting. And then the final card here is the dragon, basically energy that I was picking up on. And we can see him breathing the fire, right? King of Wands, getting ready to do what he needs to do. So if there's something now that you are really passionate about, everything that we've seen in the month so far is setting you up to that, or for that success. This card is about getting through a hurdle or challenge, and it may seem tricky, but it's going to lead to something far better than what you're doing right now. So there's a little bit of a tricky twist or turn at the beginning, but everything else is positive. Out of the 10 cards here, there's only 2 that require a little bit of work and a little bit of awakening. And there's a lot of power cards that came through and a lot of joyful cards as well. So let's expand the forecast now and get a much sort of deeper focus on what's going on. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and really get a clear picture of what's available to you. Each of these messages will be multifaceted or multi-part. So let's just let the cards do the walking here. All right, for the health card, just a quick, I do like to always disclaim this. I'm here to help you with metaphysics and looking at the energy. So if there's anything going on with your body or your mind, obviously you'll work with the appropriate professional, but I'm gonna hopefully help you open up the right channels energetically to have a good month. All right, so the health card, we have a reversal here, but let's just pull it close up so you can see it. Krishna devotion, it says, trust your spiritual guidance. Your commitment has been recognized. You are loved unconditionally. So Anytime we get the Magician card in a spread, it is a reminder that you are a channel. You have the power to connect to source energy. And maybe in the past, this would have been something where it would have been considered heresy or something, but I really truly believe we all are connected to heaven here on earth. So we are that channel, and the Magician represents the ability to connect to the divine, bring it into your energy, and then do something with it. As above, so below. You are the channel, you are the conduit. You get to also be like the potter and mold that energy and whatever you want it to be. So what are you going to do with it this month? This is really saying you are more powerful than you imagine. You are more connected to source than you imagine. You are worthy of good things in your life, even if nobody else has told you that. And once you believe this, you can start to create some of that. So spend some time meditating. I know it's not a popular thing with everybody, and I know that sometimes it's just like, I don't have the time. Sometimes I just meditate when I'm in bed or in the shower or walking the dog. You have to be cognizant of what's going on around you, but there are different forms and different levels of meditation. You can do so with music. You can do so any way you want, but even like 5 minutes a day can make a big difference. And before I begin even readings here, I take 2 minutes to meditate. In addition to what I've already done for the channel messages, just to connect with source, call in protection. I did it on the weekend. It's real easy just to kind of set some intentions. You don't always have to go way out of body. So take some time to clear your mind. That was something that I put on one of the cards earlier, and I forgot to say with like the Four of Cups. Clear your mind so you can receive. Otherwise, it's kind of like a cluttered house and you buy something new and it's like, I don't know where to put this because it's already full. So I think clearing your mind is going to be the most important thing right now to help you be more receptive to what's going on. All right, let's look at some other messages around health. For sure, I just had my own ophthalmologist appointment about a week ago, or optometrist rather. So if you haven't gone to the eye doctor, get that checked out, because whenever there's a blindfolded card, it's usually it's a good time to look at your eyes. Also, it's saying you can't sweep something under the rug. So if there's something in your life, whether it's environmental or in your body, and it doesn't feel right, you got to make some changes. So this is about looking at something that might frighten you, but making a change. And all the cards here show that it's change for the better. So it feels like you can manage this. Just trust in that change. Let's see what else is coming through. It could be a move like a physical move, change of job, change of relationship. This can be stressful because, it's basically everything around you that you're used to seeing could have a massive shift. So take time, let the dust settle, be kind and clear. I would say, first of all, be kind to yourself as you're doing this, and also make sure that if there is any particles that are in the air and anything, that you're protecting yourself from that as well if there's construction. So construction, moving, and also just big shifts and changes are happening. So as a result of that, sometimes you just feel this sense of everything's topsy-turvy. So what you were used to has to change. This could help you, or this could bring you into that energy of losing your focus. So you just want to be cognizant of that. Let's see if there's anything else here that we should focus on. I think most of the other cards are pretty positive. I mentioned here that there could be an addition to a family, an adoption, birth, etc., because of the baby. And then we see a big change in relationships or relationship organization. So there's that as well. But overall, I feel like it's okay. Change your schedule up a little bit. Anytime that Hierophant comes through reverse, it's good to change up routines. It will help you feel better. It'll help you stay focused. You'll be more productive. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the Wealth card. And in the Wealth position, we have breaking a new trail or creating one. And it says a breakthrough is at hand. So let's look at this card here. Part of that involves doing what you see here, which is getting your hands dirty, rolling up your sleeves, deciding I'm going to do the work. As I was looking at the Raven Prophecy deck over the weekend, I think it was like the Knight of Pentacles, one of the Pentacles card, had a shovel, king or knight. And basically I liked that because there is an investment that's required. It would probably be the Knight card, because you have to basically be in the flow of change. So when it comes to your work, if you've been waiting for something, or your money, or your career path, or whatever you're sort of doing, and this is your investment of energy, we should see it before October. If you don't see the change happen over the next quarter of the year, it's time. It's time to make a shift. It's time to make a change. You are an agent of change during this period. So what are you going to do? Exactly what the King of Swords is doing here. Speak up, put something on the record. For those of you that are still in a sort of traditional corporate job, this would mean like your quarterly or annual reviews. Whenever you have a chance to say, I would like to be considered for this, and I want to know what is required to get to the next level. Let's set a goal for that raise or that increase or that promotion. And then if they fall short of their promise, then you know that it's time to seek something different, whether it's in the same company or elsewhere. That's up to you. But you've got to write it down. Get it in writing, get the contract laid out, and a good change could come through in that area. You can do a lot, but this is a very generalist card. So I think that one of the things that you want to do is figure out like what's your specialty, what's your focus. So again, when it comes to activities and money and energy, what's the focus is definitely an important piece to look at. You may not be happy working for somebody else because super bossy card, super organized and super bureaucratic. And this is like, I don't want it or I don't see it. So you might have outgrown a sort of social structure that's in place here and need to restructure or do something different. There could also be restructuring going on wherever you're working. Change, it's change. Either your role needs to change, the company itself is changing, or you're going to move on. This, for those of you that are students or retired, this could mean a change of focus. So with students, maybe you're going to go down a different path or add a minor or a double major or something like that. Something has to shift. And for those of you that are retired or volunteering, again, there needs to be a shift in organization of what you're doing, reallocation of time and energy. Something's moving when it comes to your workflow, because we've got the breakthrough card here, which is this as well. Let me see. Do we have, aside from this, yeah, we don't have pentacles. I'll look at it unless something more interesting comes through. I want to look at resources because they're not clearly stated in these cards here. I mean, I see so many empowering and manifestation cards here. A king, a queen, essentially. And then these two very strong charismatic cards. Where's the money? Where's the investment? Where's the resources? So I'm going to write it down just because I'm thinking about it. To me, omission also constitutes a message. So let's just remember to take a look at resources, because they are MIA, missing in action. Okay, so there you go. That's that. Let me see if there's anything else. Great partnership. So by the way, these all work in tandem. So if you are thinking of doing something, you could be benefited by partnering with someone, because this is the boss. This is someone who's really good at articulating, writing things out, sometimes even doing things. So I think figuring out how to complement your skills when we're looking at work is going to be key. And it's just a little bit of a power struggle there. So trying to find that happy space between the two of you is going to be important. Otherwise, I like what I see here. It's just change. There's going to be a change. Be a part of that change. It looks like you're going to end up in a good position here because the King of Wands is leadership and boss energy. So as long as you are leaning into partnerships, looking at the greater good, being focused, being outspoken, you should be in a good space here. Don't fear the tower. Let me see if there's anything else that we need to focus on. I think that's it. Let's go ahead and move on to relationships. Change. It's all it is, change. So we have the volcano, which to me is super passionate as a sort of symbol. But we also have on this card volatility. So passion does bring volatility with it. And for many of you, you are passionate about something that could attract, that could change things in your life. Some of you might also be wanting to reconnect. So there might be missing intimacy, and the need or the desire or the message from this card is to reconnect with one's partner. And it could also just be showing that a big change is in route. I mean, are you seeing a common thread? I am. Change, and more change. Let's break it down into 3 different parts. We're going to start with current relationships, those that are seeking a relationship, or those that are single and happy. If you're in a relationship, like I said, something is shifting. We've got an upright tower and basically the equivalent of a tower here reversed. So Which side are you on? Which side of change are you on? Are you waiting to see what someone else does, or are you going to be the agent of the change? You may be dealing with someone who has a temper, because this now takes a different sort of energy as we're looking at current relationships. That temper, that habit could be something that pulls away at these strong bonds here, the Ten of Cups and the Four of Wands. This card can be addiction. The addiction can take many forms. Of course, it could be food, it could be work, it could be other substances as well. And so moving away from habits and addictions in general, because we can put a broader stroke to that, it's going to be important. So helping one another break the bad habits, even just things that you're used to doing in the relationship that can sort of detract from the better parts of it. That's going to be key as well. So break through and break out of those habits and focus on healthier ways of being. You guys are very evenly met energetically. Again, one leads by example, one sort of is more demonstrative, one talks a lot more. So you're going to have to find a way to meet between the showing and the telling of things so that there's a little bit of both, a little bit of showing up and then also, like, again, walking the walk, talking the talk. I feel like you both do it differently, but you might expect the other partner to be identical to you, and that's not necessarily going to happen. See if there's anything else. Children in general could be a point of contention here, or point of focus. You might be trying to, again, if someone's going to college, if someone needs more time and energy, this could be a distraction and it could pull away at some of the intimacy and personal time between you and your partner. That's true of anything new in your life, but especially a child. It's a blessing, but it's also something that changes the dynamics. So the key thing here is to, again, talk and be close and again, get back into that energy of not forgetting your partners as well. So partnership, intimacy, communication, key themes that could be causing some stress here, okay? Money's absent from the spread. That doesn't mean that everyone's off the hook on that. It might be that that's what's not being talked about. So something needs to be talked about and dealt with. The good news is you're ending on a powerful card here. There's a lot of chemistry. There's a lot of deep ties here that I think could help you get through anything. So let's hope that helps you through the changes, okay? And it's not about repeating or rekindling everything that was. This is a new chapter. So when you look at it as the new chapter, then it's more inspiring and you're freer to just sort of like reestablish a new norm. For those that are looking for a relationship, so we just looked at relationship status. For those that are already in one, now we're looking at people that are trying to find love. It's a good month to do so. You have a very attractive energy. You're very ready for that commitment. You are calling in partners, potential partners. Again, I see a differing communication style, but I like that we have two kings because that shows that you're both strong and you've worked on yourselves. Trust the chemistry. These are two really great chemistry cards, and we actually see solar energy behind both. One card is trying to manipulate or move it faster than it should. The other one is just sort of the outstretched arms of the sun saying, I'm here when you're ready. Like I think that's the better sort of energy, is just to go with the flow. And that's also good for your sign, being fish. But if you or someone else is trying to speed it up too much, just say, we're good, don't worry about it. This is going exactly where it should. But maybe the partner just needs to know what your long-term plans is as you're meeting this new partner. These are very committed. So if you're not ready for the commitment, then this month you're calling in partners that are looking for that. So either prepare for the commitment or take some time off this month and figure out, what am I so afraid of? Why can't I get into something that's long-term? Because again, that's kind of what the universe is serving up. You just have to be very honest and look in a different space perhaps, because what I'm seeing is maybe antithetical to what you're trying to call into your life. All right, so let's see if there's anything else. I believe that's it for that. Either you or your partner may be very rebellious or not with the establishment, anti-disestablishment or something. But yeah, you're kind of like unique, rebellious. That's what I'm getting. So you or your partner, and if one of you is conservative, that could also be a sort of fly in the ointment. And this is also true for those in a relationship. So I see partnerships, but I see challenges with them. And that could be part of what this little fairy is bringing through, saying, hey, I found someone special, but they have some lessons attached to them. Do you want that? Okay. If you're single and happy, focus on letting the dust settle. My eye just keeps going to this one. So you've got to resolve this really on any aspect of this. We have to get into the energy of change first, because if you don't deal with, change, or resolve this, everything else is on a house of cards. It's built on a house of cards. So you got to do that first. All right. But I do see for some of you, this could be exciting, by the way, a move. And what a cool move this would be. You're going to feel very at home if you're ready to make this move. A change in employment or a change in status. And it's really good as well. Positive change if you're single and happy and not looking. Still friendship and partnership opportunities abounding, but you may be focusing these instead on, again, career and work, and it will be good. Change, change, change. Don't fear the change. All right. Let's move on to your destiny card. And what a cool card here. So we have Wise One. It says, grow within your current situation. So there is a chance and there is a choice for some of you to stay. And if you stay, there are some challenges and some changes to make. So sometimes even staying, that means like we can only stay in this relationship, or I can only stay in this job, or I can only be here if I change my expectations, I change my goals, or you change, or we change our behaviors. So you can, if you want to, change and stay still. You have to decide if that feels good to you and it is right for you, okay? But there is definitely a chance and an opportunity for that growth. Also, don't underestimate your ability to kind of like know what to do, because we have this wisdom here with the Wise One. So you've been on this planet quite a few times. This is not your first time around the sun. And it's not your first time on this planet to live a whole lifetime. So seek the knowledge from the past. You can just close your eyes and think, I know what to do. What's the best route? What can I do so that I avoid past karmic relationships or past karmic mistakes? What can I do to really get on the right path? And the first thing that comes to mind, really pay attention to that, okay? Let's go into the big idea next. The big idea is just one umbrella type thread that helps organize all of this. King of Cups. Here you are, Pisces. King of Cups, but it's reversed. So I don't even really need to ask. I can tell by this card that some of you are feeling a lot. It's either feeling really, really great. Some of you may be kind of in this energy of feeling like really angry or emotionally sensitive, maybe even sad. And you need to sort of find a channel for that energy. And remember, when the King of Cups is in reverse, he needs to focus on internal fulfillment first. Because just like the Ace of Cups, the cup needs to be overflowing in order for partnership, creativity, and power to exist. And I really want the King of Cups to be upright for you. Kind of funny on this one. He's either flippant about or ready to just say enough is enough with that extra cup. He's like, I could take it or I could leave it. So really make your mind up. Are you in? Are you out? Do you want to stay? Do you want to go? Where are you at? Because that's going to help you feel more stable, and it's going to help more come in. Notice on this one that we see a little tentacle or arm from octopus, it looks like, possibly, but no strings attached. I'm looking at that as someone that's trying to pull you in, reel you in, or put on a condition to something, whether it's love or something else. No strings attached to some sort of, no conditions, let's put it that way. Unconditional love and no unreasonable conditions put upon something. That's going to be really important as you enter into new things, relationships, partnerships, and agreements. And decide for yourself if you're going to take it or leave it. It's hard, right? Sometimes having to make the decision. This is part of being an adult. And that's always the hard part, is figuring out Like going back to a kid, maybe the toughest thing was, what am I going to wear to school? And you get to decide, and that's exciting. When you get older, they're bigger decisions, and they're not always fun. And there's sometimes like difficult things that you have to say and do. And we wish that it was just, what do I wear? Or what can I pack for my school lunch or something? But now these are bigger decisions at hand, and it could be a relationship, like, do I want to be with this person or not? It could be the job, but there's something big. That's why the change energy is coming through, and that's why the king is off his center. Once he makes that decision, everything will feel better, okay? Let's go ahead, and by the way, it looks like they have beautiful little lotus blossoms in the corner on this card. I love any sort of water lily, lotus, etc., because it has to travel up through so many layers of silt and grime and mud to get to the surface to show that beautiful blossom. But ultimately, all the work that you do, it's worth it. So don't lose track of what it is that you are attempting to do, because it's within reach. Let's move on to blessings and blocks. Every month has a little bit of both. Something that's easy and cool and kind of lifts you up, something that creates a pause or twists you around a little bit. So we're going to look at both and see how you can navigate these energies this month. Okay. First, the card for the blessing, and then the card for the block. I really do love this deck. I'm glad that it was chosen today. All right, so for the blessing, it's kind of, judgment is always a double-edged sword, but it's a cool one. So judgment indicates a second chance, rising from the ashes, rebirth. With it, though, there's this this is a blessing in disguise, because you may not have had a choice in the matter. Judgment reverse, we see Gabriel delivering the message, is sometimes like, I'll give you some examples. You may not have a choice in leaving a job because the company closes down. Your partner is, and maybe this is someone that you're dating, they're moving and they love you, but they have to take this job, and you love them. So you're like, well, it's not my choice, but I'm going to move with them because I want to see where this relationship takes me. Or you get a transfer opportunity, again, for work. Or family needs you, so you're going to temporarily go somewhere else and help them out. You didn't have a choice in the matter. You do. You could decide to not do it, but there's a bigger calling, and you're like, no, I know I've got to do it. The timing, I couldn't control the timing. So there's something going on where the timing may not have been what you wanted, but when we're looking at what your soul was trying to accomplish or what's coming next, I still feel like you're being guided into the right space, and you're going to be able to rise up from the situation. Okay? So even or especially when something happens and it's just happening, this is the universe saying, hey, synchronicity time. I think you're ready. Are you ready? And all that holds judgment back is sometimes judgment reverse or justice reverse, which is I don't believe in myself, or I don't know if I'm right for this. So I'm here to tell you, if there's a good opportunity on the table, you are ready, you are right for it, but there's disbelief, and you don't want to start something new with disbelief or being unprepared or unready. So your challenge, your blessing is that it's there. Your blessing in disguise, or your potential block, even before I look at the block, is disbelief or this sort of like resistance. Also feeling like an end is an end. Ends are beginnings. And that's actually what we got with the first card in the spread, the Catalyst, New Beginnings. It doesn't look like one, but it is. And that's the trick. A fairy usually has a little trick up his or her sleeve, and it's saying like, I'm going to make you feel like it's all crumbling down, and then I'm going to throw something really good in your lap, and you're going to have to deal with all of this. But the good is really going to outweigh the bad, because this card is very bright. And this card is also very bright. So I really feel like there's this cool opportunity, but you got to work through a little bit of tension or surprise, and it wasn't the way you thought it would go. And that could be all that it is. Maybe you're a control freak, and you're like, but I wanted it to go this time in this way, and et cetera, and the universe is saying, are you going to take it, or are you going to leave it? Because this is how I'm going to deliver it to you. Okay? Your block. Some of you may be kind of going through rebound energy. So maybe you broke up with someone. Maybe you're disappointed at the news or the timing or the way that this happened. Your heart, I like that they put an eye on the heart, because it's saying, look beyond the initial feeling of it. we are all entitled to the primal emotional stuff that we can't even control, like that smallest part of the brain where we have the instinct to run, fight or flight mode, right? And sometimes we just feel something, even though here and, beyond here, just sort of like the higher self, we know that it's going to be okay. So feel what you need to feel, but look beyond the feeling and think, but what's next, and how does this paint new context into everything? And also, on this Three of Swords, maybe for the first time ever, you're seeing the constraints or expectations or the strings attached to somebody's love or friendship or involvement. And that could be the disappointing piece. The cool thing here is you will be okay. There are great things on the horizon. And even if this was just surprise and a little bit of like, I don't want this right now, you're still going to be able to move past it. The Blessing card is one of the best. It's the second to the last in the major arcana. The World comes after this, and then the Fool again. So there's a reset. You just have to move through the emotions first. Everybody processes emotions differently. So whatever you need to do to help heal, that's your challenge this month, okay? Let's move on to the viewers and the reader's choice. I'm going to look at resources. I already identified that, so that'll speed this up a little bit. Let's look at all of these cards here and see what I can help you with. You'll have a chance to vote on it. So let me just get things set up here. Hold off, and I'll have the poll ready for you in just a second. So again, we're going to be looking at the viewer's choice. I would like to I feel like we got to look at the Tower somehow, but I'm going to put the how to deal with change / transformation. Okay, let's look at what else could be coming through. The hidden sort of energy here of whatever this Eight of Swords is. So seeing the unseen, that's kind of too obtuse. Let's say being able to see subtle truths. And then focus. What to focus on. All right. So there you go. That's enough to vote on for now. Let me just make sure that I've got enough. Okay. All right. We'll put that out there for your vote. And I'm going to look at resource management. And what's the message right now with respect to the fact that I don't see any pentacles? So resource management. Seven of Cups. Very interesting card to come through for this. All right, so the Seven of Cups can be a very good card when you're trying to explore opportunities. It can also be an incapacitating card when you are looking at them and thinking, but I don't know which direction to go and I don't know which one is better. So figuring out how to spend just enough time researching, just enough time brainstorming, and then taking one of those and running with it. It's going to be key. I think some of you may be overthinking things, and that's one message here. The other thing here is someone could be distracted. This card can show someone thinking of you. It can also be like scattered thoughts. So when it comes to resources, someone may not be focusing on how much time and energy this is taking from you or requires of you, and it's up to you to help them focus. Just like the Magician card was reversed, this one is also distracted. So we're reining things in a little bit and saying, I know you want everything, but I think we could be most effective with this, and we can try to stretch for that. The other stuff, that's got to wait, or we need more help, or we need more money. So it's about getting realistic. There's too much on the table, and once you kind of clarify and specify things a little bit, you're going to get more support, and then also people will be able to figure out how to get the proper resources there. Okay, let's see what you're choosing for me. Also, one last thing. If you're going into a negotiation or trying to get anything that you want, the Seven of Cups it's hard to follow. So get your message more concise. Use the energy here of the King of Swords and get in and get out of that conversation, okay? All right, let me see what you've chosen for me. Being able to, okay, it's almost, it's almost a three-way tie. I'm gonna hit the end of the poll and we'll see where these all fall. Okay, we've got a clear winner with 34%, but the other two were tied. That was very close. We almost got a three-way tie. All right, subtle truths. So this is the Eight of Swords. It's like, what am I missing? And the Four of Cups that we talked about in the channel messages. So I think that this is a good one to allow to be the main focus. So what are those little subtle things that you might be missing? What's right under your nose? What should you be paying attention to? Now we've got the resource card coming in, the Five of Pentacles. Someone could be harboring some hurt feelings. You may not know what you did. The Five of Pentacles can be a very sensitive person that feels like they haven't been supported or advocated for. And if someone's out of sorts, check in with them and just say, what's going on? Can I be of any support? Is there anything that's going on that I don't know about? I would just ask. You should be able to discern who it is because they just won't be themselves. You could also be harboring some stuff from the past, either in this relationship or space or from childhood. It could also even be karmic. And you just have to think, like, what is the repeated cycle that I have experienced? For some of you, it could be a partner that's not honest. It could be a boss that's annoying. It could be, friendships where loyalty is being tested. Look at the common thread and think, all right, when these events have come through that show this behavior, where was I at in my life? How did I react differently in both of these instances? What can I do to break the cycle? And it is almost invariably going to be about understanding self-worth. You're better than this situation. You don't need validation from that person. Also, it feels like you're doing too much. So now let's take it out of karma and the past. Five of Pentacles as things that you are missing would mean like ask for more. Because sometimes people will let you do as much as you are willing to do, even if it's way too much. And they figure, well, they'll let me know when enough is enough. So right now you would raise your hand and say, by all means, enough is enough. I need some help here. And if they're not willing to help, that's also a key sign that it's time to move on, or it's time to talk to someone else that is more receptive of that message, of that request, okay? Self-confidence is the big component, though, to this card. So I think focusing on how you feel and how you're presenting yourself, it could be the difference between getting what you need and things just sort of like cycling in the same old. And standing up for yourself and being willing and able to walk away from someone or something that isn't good enough for your energetic self. That's key too, if it's constantly depressing or pushing you down. I just think that when I look at that there's more potential. I'm not looking just at money, but like more investment. Okay, so you can have more. You have to ask for more, and you have to believe that you can get more. Okay, and if you do that, things will start to shift. All right, let's move into the next portion of the reading, which is going to be a chance for us to look at sun, rising, and moon messages. Every reading that I do here, you can, if you know all the different ins and outs of your chart, you can watch it for those different aspects, but these are the three most popular, so I also give an additional card for each. The sun is basically who you are. Rising is who you want to be perceived as, and these are very like high-level Cliff's Notes versions. The moon is sort of like the secret side of yourself, sometimes a secret power, things that you might be discovering, and so there's a lot to be told there. So we'll look at the messages for each and see what's coming through for all of those. Okay. Let me go ahead and pull them first, sun, rising, and moon. Sun, rising, moon. Okay, looks pretty good so far. We'll begin with the sun sign. So if you are Pisces sun, we have the Ace of Cups. I like that for you. New relationship opportunities. Yes. New people coming into your life, a new sense of who you are and how you're going to share that with others. It's a really great card, actually. Joyful, powerful, and it's an open door. So it's also a prompt or a question from the powers that be. So Pisces Sun, what is it that you are looking for in your life? What is it that you are not looking for as well? Because as we saw earlier, the universe kind of wants to know what's important, what's not. Toss out what isn't so that you can make some space for what is. And that's why, oh look, we have a little ant that joined us here. Just put him over there. So you have to sort of figure out, like, what is it that I want so that I can start to create that, so that I can start to foster that in my life, okay? So that's what we're seeing with this card. And if you're open to new love, yes. If you want to somehow heal a relationship, yes, this card is saying, please. If you want to express yourself creatively, yes, yes, and yes. It's good. Now is the time. Take some action. Also put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to be the one raising up the glass and saying, what do you think about this? Or cheers, or let's celebrate, or let's commence. Okay, so all of those. It's a good time, Pisces, and the change is for the better. That's why I really feel that once you can move through whatever change this is, especially Pisces Sun, it'll be good. And we see movement and change in the core relationships in your life and change for the better. Let's go on to Pisces Rising. Some of you may need to take a half step backward. So the Princess of Swords or the Page of Swords could be simply saying, let me review that. A lot of times it's communication. Sometimes it can be an action. Don't be afraid to ask for a necessary pause. Rising and Ascendant is playing a big part in work, external relationships, just how others perceive you. So don't be afraid to, caution is good, care is good. So you could just say, hey, I need to put the brakes on for a second. Let's look at this, and then we can move forward. You may also be the voice of reason, asking a difficult question in a way that is not confrontational. And also maybe asking the question that everyone else has on their mind. So you can just say, before we proceed, apologies if this has been already covered, but this isn't clear. I need to have clarity on this so that I can do the best possible job. So just ask for the clarity, and always better to ask for that than to ask to try to get an apology out because you did something wrong. So get the clarity, get that moment of zen before you get started on something. So I see a momentary pause or course correction that's going to save you oodles of time later. And I also see that people may come to you to be the one that is the voice of reason. Hey, I know you have a relationship with this person. Could you talk some sense into them? Or, I know that you sit close to this person. How maybe you could chat about this. So as long as you're not finding yourself put in the middle of something, if it is already kind of setting you up for your better good as well, go for it. Your voice matters. You have the power to pump the brakes a little bit and get some time. So buy time if you need it and get the information that you need. And people will see you as a stronger person for doing that, okay? Use your voice, take your time, course correct, and then you can move forward with a sense of ease and feeling like you're not going to be keeping yourself up at night, all right? As we look at Moon, we have opportunity coming through for you. Some of you have been sitting on something for a while because there is always a sort of clandestine energy around the moon. So maybe you've been holding something close and thinking, when is the timing for this? Remembering that this reading said the time is now, I feel like absolutely figure out how and where over the next 6 to 8 weeks to begin. With the Ace, you can plant a seed, figuratively speaking, and you say, all right, I'm ready to do this. Let me set this in motion by setting aside time, talking to someone, getting the legal paperwork done, whatever you need to do to figuratively start something, now is the time. You may also need to put out there what it is that you want. So this is saying, hey, I have this skill set. I have this passion. I have this desire. I'd like to do this. And see if the other person is receptive to it. So it can be an offering, it can be an asking, it can be planting a figurative seed, but you are the agent of that change. It's not just coming to you. So again, do what you need to do to plant the seed. If something is presented to you, make sure that it matches the desire, the passion, the purpose, and you're not just doing it for the sake of doing it or just for the coin, that there's a little bit more to it. Okay, a very powerful time for both the sun and the moon. We got 2 aces for both of those placements. So again, sun, new opportunities with respect to relationships, creativity, and just feeling good. And then with moon, we're seeing improvements with self-worth, with career, with finances, and also just like starting something exciting. And in the middle with the rising, you're being asked to kind of pause for a second and get clarity. But ultimately, because we're seeing all these aces, I believe that there would probably be like an ace of swords hidden there as well if you need it. You might actually be one step beyond these 2 because after that ace would be the page. So you're just drilling in the details a little bit and getting a little bit more information. So I just see some really positive and powerful energy for your sign, and it's nice to see the different aspects right here. Okay? So let's get ready for the next portion. We'll take a quick look at everything that we've done. Actually, before I do that, if you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button. Show some love with a like as well. Join me on social media if you'd like to get some reminders. Remember, I don't do private readings, I don't do coaching, and I don't send messages on social media. So if anyone does that, let me know. Block and report them as well. If you want to show some support, you can do it here through Super Sticker and Super Chat. And now let's talk about where we've been and where we're going. We covered everything, and we're going to now deal with the meditation and the final card. So the final card is your opportunity to ask one last question. And rather than having a bunch of people typing it all out and me pulling a bunch of cards and this being forever and ever, we all focus on our questions at the same time, and I'll pull a card that can navigate through all of those at once. All right, so whether you're watching it on replay or live, you can use this as sort of like, almost, it's not like a pick a card, but it's like asking me a question and I'll look at it. Before we do that, I like to clear out the energy, meditate a little bit, get us in a good zone. So let's do that together here today. Just close your eyes and focus on the energy of spring. I really like this card here with all the daffodils. So maybe see beautiful spring flowers or summer flowers in bloom. You could see daffodils, sunflowers, something golden, something really beautiful and bright. And imagine that you are laying down in a field of these bright flowers. So because some sunflower may be a little bit easier to envision, imagine that energy of sunflower energy around you. So the cool thing with a sunflower is it kind of always faces the light, and I like that. So we're helping you kind of position yourself to receive higher guidance and positivity. And as you're looking at all the sunflowers, kind of giving the sun an audience, imagine now that you are one of those flowers kind of laying down in this field, and you're receiving. You're receiving light and healing on each and every cell of your body, each and every energetic point. And in this moment in time, you feel a sense that whatever was broken, whatever was difficult, whatever was wrong, it's healing up now. I can see beyond that. I actually see the purpose of the experience of the person as well. Because a lot of times people come in to teach us, and they do so through this challenging energy that's not always fun to work through. So as you're working around that, put out into the universe this thought, if you decide to do it. I'm ready now to receive something even better than my wildest dreams. Better love, better wealth, better experiences. Show me, universe, the upgrade that I'm worthy of. I'm ready to receive it, and I'm ready to believe it. And just be ready and be willing, and open yourself up like the ace cards. Particularly for you, it makes sense to be like that ace of cups, like a satellite. I'm ready, I'm willing, and I'm deserving. As you do that, I'm going to play, I'm going to give it a test. I haven't used this during the weeklies, but I'll play my new sound bowl here. So just relax, enjoy, and in 1 minute's time or so, I'll be back and we can look at your final card. Take a deep breath. Allow that beautiful golden energy to wrap around your body, just like the sound of this singing bowl moving through you, emanating from you. And imagine, just like the sun card, you have the ability to reach out and attract and pull in, manifest the things which you've been trying and struggling and now succeeding to create in your life. Slowly come back into your body. You can rub your hands together. Put your left hand on your chest, your right hand on top of that. And in this moment, I just want you to open your eyes. Think about whatever it is that I haven't yet had a chance to look at, and I'll pull that final card. And then we'll pull Apollo up for the very ending because he just joined us in the background. All right. The universe wants to show you change, change, change. Okay, so we have yet another card showing change and movement. We have the Death card. Death card was reversed. So end to stagnation. As a yes, no, the Death card is saying it's already, like, I feel like change is already happening. This one is kind of like a Russian doll. We see like the skeleton and then the person and then the skeleton within the skeleton. And it also has like a very Day of the Dead, what is it, marigold behind it. And it matches what I'm wearing. But what we see with the Death is a necessary transformation, and the reversal of it is saying that it's overdue on some levels. And so for some of you, if there was a question of stay versus go, this is more on the energy of move through it, move on, or again, you have to change significantly in that situation. So it's a reverberation of what we talked about a little bit earlier. The other thing here is to go deeper, to dig a little bit deeper, because you're more than meets the eye, and so is someone else. So again, the change has to begin within. You have to believe it. And I just feel like it's time to move, time to change, time to shift. This one is saying it will be okay, but it is, at this point, it's like now or never. Okay? So I love the Death card. I know that some of you may fear it, but for me, it shows a necessary change. Things that can show up as like Death or Tower that are good could be like graduation. And it could be advancement. It could be being thrown into the spotlight because the old you goes away and you have to assume a new mantle. And you realize sometimes that there was more than you anticipated with that sort of new responsibility, but also that you're more than you realized too. Okay? So you're being asked to shed your skin to like a snake would so that it can grow and step into something new. You've got 3 cards of change, big change. So you've got one at the beginning that said it's all about setting you up for growth and for new beginnings. I told you with the fairy that there would be some surprises with it. The Tower is encouraging you to take ownership and take control of the energy of change. And the Death card reverse is saying staying would probably mean stagnating. So find a way to do something new in this moment in time. So even if you're standing still, it has to be a significant shift so that you feel engaged, so that you feel alive, okay? There's a door opening for you, though, with the Death card. It always closes one and opens another. That's its function, is that kind of level of transformation. All right. So, my friends, this was a very powerful reading. I always love the Pisces reading because my third eye is wide open from doing readings all month, and I'm fresh off of a collective reading usually, so lots and lots of just beautiful energy pouring through. But this is a time for something to move, shift, change, grow, or develop for you. It should not be a month of stagnation. So if you embrace that, really cool things will happen over the next quarter of the year. All right, let's move on to the gratitude portion, and then we'll wrap up for today. A reminder, again, I haven't posted the little reminder yet on YouTube main page, but I'll be doing a bonus reading on Thursday, and then I'll be back with Aries on Friday. All right, so let me welcome the new members. We had a couple today, and then we'll move on to Super Chat and Super Stickers. So Bonnie Hagen, I think you kicked things off this morning, and Joyce as well, and then Bernadette, and let's see, Roxy. I think those are the 4 that joined within the past day. And there were a couple of other ones here, and let's see, Angel Doyle, Marilyn V, and that's it for the last day. So thank you to all the new members. If I missed anyone, apologies. I'll see it when I look at it on replay. Let me go ahead now and welcome and say thanks to everyone that did super stickers and super chat. All right, so we have 3 today. We'll beginning things were with Yvette Sanchez. Thank you so much, Yvette. I appreciate that. Benita Clark and Dark Star Alchemy. Good to have all of you, plus the new channel members today, and all of the folks that have been with me for, it's been a long time, 7 or 8 years. Thank you very much. And I appreciate all the support as I continue to make changes in the channel and try new things. All right, lots of love and light. Let's pull up the little pup here at the end and let him say hello to you. I'm going to be waking him up, but it's okay. Want to say hi to everyone, Paul? We'll go for a walk there? Huh? Can you get up? He says, Dad, I'm still sleeping. Come here. Little Apollo is just going to sleep in the background here. So we'll let him go. It is early. I get him up for a walk at 4 in the morning. It's early for me too. And he's like, I don't know. Let's see. See if I can get him up. Can I get up? Come on, let's say hi to everybody. No, he's not having it, guys. I'm sorry. Post a picture for him later on Instagram, perhaps. He says, I am done. So we're going to respect his desire to just chill out in the background. All right, everybody. Lots of love and light to you. I'll see you again on Thursday. Wishing you all the best. Take care. Bye-bye.